Hello and welcome to Marketing Speak. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer, and it is my pleasure to have Tommie Powers with us. Tommie, aka Tommie Traffic, is an investor and digital advertising maestro with over 15 years experience. Since 2007, he's spent and consulted on over 120 million in digital advertising that has resulted in over 550 million in revenue. Tommie, it's so great to have you on the show, to have you back. This is the second time.
For sure. Great to be back, man.
Yeah. So what's changed in terms of YouTube advertising and just the digital marketing landscape in the last few years since you were on previously?
How long ago was that?
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, a lot has changed. Obviously, the Facebook iOS, which also, Google, there are some things there with privacy and, just a lot of things have changed. Costs are rising across all platforms. You got to kind of rethink, I think strategically, and I was actually just having a conversation with a company, they're still trying to run the pre-iOS strategy and game plan, and then they're wondering why it ain't working. I'm like, well, you got to change. The playbook got to change. You know what I mean? There's different things that need to be done. And so the biggest probably thing on the YouTube side is just like the algorithm really just like leaning towards that really and becoming more algorithmic media buyers, meaning, being less ninja on clicking buttons and more about allowing the system to do the work and really, focusing on feeding it the proper data it needs to do, what it do and give us what we want. And in the past, we've been more, we want to control too much. Well, or we did control too much or tried to control a lot. And that doesn't translate as well anymore. You really kind of get an algorithm freedom to do its thing. And, you're still going to control some things, but you kind of got to give it its ability to breathe and just try to be intelligent about how you're feeding it the data that you want to feed it in order to get out of it what you want. And that's kind of been the big thing, which obviously it makes the management of the advertising and the media buying a lot easier. And we switched our focus more so on the creative. And that's really where, that trade-off happened, where we were spending a lot of time in the thing, hours per day, just like, even on one account, we might be spending 1 or 2 hours or more in an ad account, every single account every day. We don't have to, we probably do maybe half of that now, but that same energy we had to take and put on the creative side, because that's really where it's been like a huge difference, because people know ads when they see them, like they hovering over that skip button. And so we just had to get smarter and better about, how do we reach people? How do we capture their attention, keep them engaged? Because if, you can get their attention, but if you can't engage them, it's not going to really do you any good. And I still see a lot of people make those mistakes. So they'll be like, stop right now before you skip. Like, people hate that stuff. You know what I mean? Because you'll get their attention. You can do all of this attention grabbing stuff, but really people want to be engaged. They're there to be entertained. They're there to be educated, because a lot of people still go to YouTube for education. They go there for entertainment. They go there to product reviews and things like that. You have to really understand why people are on the platform. So you have to get their attention, and then you have to engage them based on what they're there for, and bridge the gap between where they are right now and where you want them to be, and your offer, and kind of how all that tie together. And there's a real dance to that. There's a real dance to that. And so we've invested a lot of energy kind of in that part of it. But those are kind of the big ones, changes wise. I probably said a mouthful there too, but
Well, yeah, let's unpack some of this. So the creative side of it, how do you keep people engaged and interested, not hitting the skip button, and get that watch time up and get the action that you want as the advertiser to happen, where I guess they're going to end up on a landing page or an offer page to purchase something or to sign up for a free trial, or like what's the specifics of this kind of secret sauce to those first few seconds?
So the hook is that first 5 to 10 seconds. That's really that's pretty common across any type of offers, right? But there's a lot of different, things, there's the webinar funnels, there's the e-commerce products, physical products, there's the books and free trial software, and there's a lot of different offers, right? So depending on your offer is going to slightly, the messaging is going to be different, really, and there may be slight changes in, but overall, like the big idea of it is hook, message, call to action, right? So the hook is where you're going to capture their attention. The message is how you engage them, and then obviously the call to action is like, what do I want you to do? Right? Click this ad, go over to my page, put your information in. I'm gonna give you a 7-day free trial to, this software that's gonna do whatever it does, right? Or put your name and email in, and I'm gonna give you access to this PDF cheat sheet, or this register for my webinar, or whatever it might be, right? So that's kind of the, pretty basic framework of an ad that works, a creative that works. And so that hook, the thing about a hook, it has to be relevant to the audience, and it has to be relevant to the message, and it has to be relevant to the offer. And I think that's where a lot of people get it wrong. They'll create these hooks because they're so focused on getting the attention, but they don't understand how it ties all together. And then what you end up with is someone's attention, but you don't engage them, or if you do engage them and then your offer isn't congruent, then you're just sending a bunch of unqualified clicks, to your page. So when it comes to message, that's kind of where the real sauce of it happens, man, to be honest with you. The call to actions are pretty straightforward because it's pretty much tell them what you want them to do, why they should do it, what's in it for them, right? But the message part is that secret sauce area where, it's like, it's a Pandora's box too, right? Because sometimes we're testing a lot of different messages, and a lot of times we're failing, you fail more than you win there, but when you really hit something, it can really live for a long period of time. So the message is important. So what we've been doing, we study a lot of the platform itself. We study the vloggers and the big YouTubers, and we try to understand like what they do. And a lot of them, they do a lot of pacing and jump cuts and, humor. There's a lot of humor, a lot of storytelling. So obviously we've been doing storytelling, but I'm just, for people that may not know, storytelling is the overarching theme of it all, right? If you can't tell a compelling story, it's going to be very challenging. It's not impossible, but it's going to be much more challenging to engage someone, right? So a lot of storytelling, and then you're kind of mixing all of these other kind of elements in there to kind of keep people engaged, because, you could tell a great story, but if you just monotone, it might not connect the same way versus, voice inflection or visual aids, or, there's a lot of different elements. And if you study people who are very successful on YouTube as creators, we're just taking a page out of their book and rolling that over in our creative process on the advertising side. And now our ads sort of fit the platform. It's still an ad and they know it, but I think subconsciously there's more there other than just being sold to, or just, I'm trying to shove this message down your throat type of a situation. I think people appreciate it, so that's kind of, I don't know how much deeper we want to go on that, but that's kind of how I try to describe kind of like that creative process. It's not as hard as it sounds. It's just like, you have to think about like, what do people want? Like, what are they doing? Like, they're watching YouTube videos. It's like, you're going to interrupt them watching their YouTube video. Why should they care about what you're talking about? Why, what is it that you're going to do that's going to get them out of the mindset that they're in to pay you attention? And you're competing with creators. So it kind of makes sense when you really think about it, right?
Yeah. Now, what are some of the hooks, if you could give a few examples that really grab people and get their attention and make them want to keep watching?
I think it varies, man. It's hard to like give an example because it really depends on the audience. So a lot of what we do, audience segmentation, right? So I'll give you an example like this. So let's think about fitness. Huge, right? So if you talk about fitness, it's a huge, market. And, there's a lot of different ways to speak to fitness people. But if you're just going to go and say, oh, I'm going to go after fitness, and you're going to have this kind of really broad message around fitness, that ain't going to really probably work because there's levels to it, right? So let's say you're somebody like a Peloton or a Fitbit, for example, where there's different types of people who use Peloton. There's different types of people who use a Fitbit, or even if we look at a Peloton, for example, right? Some people are just trying to drop them pandemic pounds. Some people are using it because they compete in a sport. Some people are using it. Some people are like crazy passionate about it, and they do the cycling. They come from that cycling world. So it's like you got like bodybuilders and cyclers, and you have there's just so many different variations of how people do fitness. What are runners, right? So you got to segment into who are you really speaking to. And now, like when I'm starting to think about a hook for a runner, well, I'm not a runner, so it'd probably be hard for me to come up with that. But if I'm just thinking about, any segment, I'm going to try to identify the key messages and conversations that are happening. I'm gonna try to identify, the key messages that are happening in the minds of that segment, and then I'm gonna be focused on that, right? Because it's like, even if you were selling like a running shoe, right? Like, what makes your running shoe great? That solves a problem that they have, right? And it's like that hook might be, are you tired of having, uncomfortable shoes when you're running, or your feet hurting after you getting through with your, morning run? Here's why that's happening. And this is why we developed this product to solve that thing and so forth, right? And look at this person who used to have this problem, and now with this product, they don't, right? And now you're starting to tell that story, but I'm trying to draw them in with something they might be dealing with, a reason they might want to buy my thing. And then I'm going to use that, if you will, as a hook to capture that person. And it might not be like the greatest hook in the world, because it's not about that. It's really about speaking to the right person. If someone is having that problem and I lead my video with that, and that draws them in, and I can keep that person engaged, that person is way more likely to want to buy my product because they identify with that initial thing that I said to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like if you can laser target the people who have tinnitus, ringing in the ears, and you lead with something about, are you sick of hearing that ringing in your ears? If it's the right audience, that hook totally grabs them.
Or even if you flip it, instead of asking them the question, you can flip that same thing about a ringing ear about, kind of like, instead of asking the question, you can assume that they have it. And then you can say something that's along the lines of, gosh, I know when I get that ringing in my ear, it just really gives me a crazy headache, or whatever it is right now. I don't know if that's true, but I'm just saying, like, you can flip that as well into an assumption, because now if you say that to the right person, they're going to be like, man, they know exactly what I'm dealing with. And if you say that to someone who's don't know what you're talking about, they're going to skip. That's the point, right? You just want to attract someone who understands what it is you're saying. And that's really what make great hooks, in my opinion, is really about tapping in with people who really are very likely to need what it is that you have. That's who I want to draw in. I don't want to just get everyone's attention. I want to get the right attention.
Right. And if somebody is not a good fit, you actually want them to hit the skip button.
100%. 100%.
Are you paying for that person who skipped? Or are you only paying for people who watch a certain amount of time?
It depends on how you run it. Like you can buy unskippable ads. You can also buy discovery ads where when someone click on it, it takes. So you got different versions, right? So you have your in-stream, your typical like skippable in-stream. And those are just the videos that play before you're about to watch a video that, you got 5 seconds to skip. Then they have something called unskippable, where you probably seen these videos and you can't skip them. It's just say this video ends and it's counting down, right? You can't skip it. You just got to sit there and wait until that video stops. And then you have discovery, and there's other ones, but these are kind of like the key ones that we use. Discovery ads are the ones where, you might be watching a video and you see like a ad sitting off to the right with the recommended, or if you're searching on YouTube, sometimes you'll see ads pop up over the search results. So when you click them, it take you to a video. Those are called video discovery ads. So it really depends on the type of unit that you're running. But if you're running in-stream skippable, then the rule is if the video is less than 30 seconds, if they don't skip, you pay. If the video is longer than 30 seconds, you only pay when they watch at least 30 seconds. So that's kind of the rule on that. But if the other videos, obviously if you're running unskippable, the minute that video starts playing, you're paying, right? With a discovery, the minute somebody clicks, you're paying.
Right. And where do you spend most of your money or your clients' money in terms of those 3 types of ads?
Skippable in-stream for sure. Probably 70, 80% skippable in-stream.
But you've tried a lot of unskippable ads.
We run them now
and found them not performing. Like what makes it such a compelling opportunity to run the in-stream skippable ads versus the unskippable ones? Is it the cost is prohibitive? Is it that people are too annoyed by unskippable ads? Like why spend most of your money on skippable?
So it's a couple of reasons. So first biggest reason is algorithm. So the algorithm, the type of ad that you can run where the algorithm will do the work for you. You can either do maximize conversion or you can do target CPA. And both of these are bidding strategies. They're not ad units. It's just a bid strategy. But with either of these strategies, you're basically telling the system, I want this action to happen, and I want you to get me as many of these as you can for my budget. That's maximize conversion. Or you can say, I want this action to happen, and I want to pay this much for that action. That's target CPA. And then you still have to set a budget on your campaign, but your bid strategy is based on, I think, somebody to download a PDF is worth $5 to me. And this is what I want to pay for that. Go out and find me someone that can get me this action for that amount. And those 2 strategies, the bid strategies, they just, from a performance, because we run performance campaigns, right? We do some branding as well, but it's kind of a mix of both. But like from a performance standpoint, we're trying to put the algorithm to work for us as much as humanly possible, especially top of funnel, right? So then when we're working middle and bottom of funnel, now we can roll out discovery ads. Now we can roll out unskippables. We can do a lot of other things strategically when we already have someone kind of in our audience or in our, whether it is video views or websites or what have you. Now that we have them in our world and we want to continue to market to them, we can then start leveraging these other strategies. But top of funnel, the algorithm is working. That's the big one. The second part of that is people are self-selecting themselves into our audience, right? Because if they skip the ad, they don't care, right? We haven't said something that they care about. If they're watching that ad, now they become part of the audience. If they click that ad, they become an even more valuable part of that audience for us to then develop ways to then market further to those people. But they're self-selecting themselves. And so you kind of getting this pay for performance while also building audience to then further push messaging and branding and so forth. And this is why we use a lot of skippable in stream because of that reason. Then obviously, the 30-second rule, right? So if your videos are, let's say, 1 minute and they don't watch at least 30 seconds, that means that person counts as a view. That's they kind of digging perhaps what you're saying, and it just makes for a more quality audience building strategy as well. So I might be missing a couple, but those are kind of the big ones. And then when you're talking scale, which is what we focus on, right? You're going to be running a lot of top of funnel when you're scaling. Like, you can't scale hitting warm and hot audiences. It just don't work like that. Like, you can get crazy ROI on those audiences, but if you're really talking about scaling your acquisition and your ad, so that you can get more acquisition, you got to go top of funnel. And, most scaling strategies are going to have a high percentage of top of funnel as their budget mix, right? So if I got a, $300,000 a month budget, probably a good 70% of that is going to be top of funnel. And then that other 30% is where I'm gonna hit that middle, bottom, or some people call it warm and hot, right? And now I'm just continually pulling people into my audience, and then I'm working my marketing strategy, whether it's get them on SMS or email, or if they buy or what have you, right? You're gonna still work the rest of your marketing strategy out after that. And that's kind of, hopefully that makes sense, but that's pretty much why we mostly do it that way.
And so can you target somebody top of funnel, it's cold traffic, right? And then they showed some interest. They watched a good portion of the video and they didn't buy, they didn't go to your website or anything. Can you remarket to them, retarget them for another go round and maybe get the conversion?
For sure, but you don't have the option yet. And I say yet because I think we're going to get this eventually. Facebook, you can actually segment people based on how much of the video that they watched. On YouTube, you just have either they are view or they're not. You don't know if they watched. Well, you can see metrics of how much they watched, but you can't put them in an audience based on that, if that makes sense, right? So let's say on Facebook, you have a 1 minute video. If they watch 25% of that, you can make an audience of people who watch 25. If they watch 50, you can make an audience of people who got to 50. Typically, the 25% audience size is bigger than the 50 and so forth. The more they watch, the smaller their audience get. On YouTube, you don't have that yet. It's did they view or not? If they viewed, everybody goes in a bucket together. We don't have the ability to break down the percentage that they watch yet. I can't. Oh my God, I can't wait till we get that because it's game changer. I mean, it's a huge strategy when it comes to Facebook, Instagram. I think TikTok might have it as well. I'm not really that up to snuff on TikTok. People have been talking about TikTok. I'm just kind of staying in my lane. But I know a lot of people that are crushing it on TikTok. So, it's like, try to stay away from that. But I think they have that capability as well. And they really got really short videos there as well. So maybe I'm wrong. But on YouTube, we don't have that. And Facebook and Instagram, that's a huge opportunity that we just don't have yet. So we just have to put them in a view bucket. And typically we're doing sequence. So the way that I would do it then is like, I could take a message that might be 3 minutes and make it into four videos. And then I could show you one, still give you a call to action. If you don't click, but say you viewed, I can show you the next one and show you the next one and show you the next one. And that way, by the time you've gotten to the fourth version of that video, that's a pretty warm, hot person, if you will. It's a little harder for us to do. It would be so easy for us to just segment based on percentage watch. We just don't have that as a strategy, but 100%, we do a lot of middle and bottom of funnel remarketing to viewers for that very reason, because it works. It works like gangbusters.
Yeah. Now, if Facebook offers such a great feature here, you must be spending a fair amount of money with Facebook to do that type of
No, like
advertising, right?
anybody can. You can start with $1 a day.
No, I mean, like, are you taking the opportunity of that kind of targeting with Facebook, with percentage of video watched, and spending a lot of money on Facebook and not just spending a lot of money
No,
with YouTube?
I don't look at it that way. I mean, we do it all. Like well, technically, we don't, as an agency, I don't run Facebook currently. I have partners that handle that. So we kind of have like these partnership clusters where, we have, some of us have mutual clients that, one of them is somebody's doing TikTok, somebody's doing Facebook and Instagram. We're doing Google, we're doing YouTube, maybe even doing Google display and shopping as well. We do all Google. We don't really run Facebook per se, but no, it's not like a one or the other. You know what I mean? It's just, it's two different animals, right? It's reaching my audience. Sometimes we can catch people top of funnel and remarket them on another platform and vice versa. So it's really like a holistic view of it. It's not like a one or the other. We don't ever really look at it that way, unless it's just like, hey, we're dialing in this one traffic source before we diversify. But typically when we're scaling, like, we're trying to hit them at all angles and just make it all work and make sense and communicate. So it's not a situation where it's taking away budget from YouTube per se for that feature. That's just something that we have as a leverage point on Facebook and Instagram that we don't have on YouTube yet. That will be so huge when we do get it. It's gonna be huge for us. It's just gonna make our ads perform better.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what about a local business that maybe is a landscaper or like snow shoveling or something, right? A laundry service, dry cleaners. Does it make sense for them to run in-stream skippable ads? Do they need to have some sort of professional level of videography and video editing to warrant them spending the money on YouTube ads? Or would you say this is more for the...
No, I think brands? Every business should be running YouTube ads. I really believe that. I don't really care what kind. If you have a business that's working, right? And and a lot of people, like, they're trying to get started and all of that, and I get all of that. And hey, you can actually do it too, right? But like, if you have a business that's already making money because you service clients or you sell a product or you know whatever it is that you do, if that business is making money, that's a way to advertise that. There's a way to get in front of people more people that'll give you money, like the people that are already giving you money. I really believe that. I think on a local level and just really any level, I think it's I know I say a lot of these things, but most people, man, what I'm telling them, and even with our own clients, is like, just get started. You have to just put a message out there. Like, a lot of times what we do, we have a data-driven strategy, right? When we're rolling out a new creative for the first time, we're not doing all of the bells and whistles and production quality and all of that. We're not doing that. And the reason why, because the message is what matters at the end of the day. If your message can't connect, I don't care if it's a white background with black letters and a voiceover. And I'm literally like, we literally test that way sometimes, not all the time, but I don't care if it's just pulling out your mobile device and talking into the phone. If you can deliver a message that connect with people, you can then go do all of that other fancy stuff, after the fact. I'm not a fan of recommending people do a lot of high production value stuff until they know what messages are really connecting. So what they're saying is, it doesn't matter if you're a big brand or you're a mom and pop landscaper who works a 5-mile radius, right? You can pull your phone out and you can talk into it. Or if you don't want to be on camera, you can make really cheap videos, because it's really about, what are you saying? Who are you saying it to? And what's the offer, right? If you got something compelling to offer people, right? Well, who are the people that you need to speak to? That's going to dictate your targeting. And then what should I say to those people to make them care about what it is that I have to offer? And then if my offer is compelling, you can make this work on any level. You can start at $5-10 a day, right? So I think every business should be running, every business that's generating revenue. Let me be specific, because I mean, some people are just starting out. If you have the capital to invest, for sure. But if you have a revenue generating business, people are giving you money. I don't care what kind of business that is. You should be advertising on YouTube. You can make it work, and you don't need to break the bank. You don't need huge, production value and all of this stuff, because at the end of the day, the message stripped down is like the most basic of it. And if that doesn't connect, I don't care how fancy you make it, people still they're not gonna tune in. But the flip side of that is, when we do find a message that connects, that's bare down, stripped down, now when we start building it up through these editing strategies and production value and so forth, we know, we have data to prove people are already connecting with this message. How can I now deliver this message more powerfully, right? That's how we're doing this. It's not like out of the gate throwing a bunch of money at video production and that kind of thing, which makes it, to me, because of that, it makes it available to everyone, because you literally can start with $5 a day, $10 a day, especially if you're in your local area. You can target the radius of your zip code or wherever you at, right? And it'll only show the ad to those people closest to you. You can start at $10 a day. If you don't have $10, $20 a day to invest in your business, you probably shouldn't be doing it, right? But if you have a business that's making money, you should be able to invest $10 or $20 a day on testing it out and see how it works. You can't put a couple $100 a month into growing your business. Like, I don't really know how to respond to that. That's why I say revenue generating, because obviously if you're not generating any revenue, then it's different. If you're generating revenue, you should be able to take a piece of whatever you're generating and put to the side and say, I'm gonna use this for growth. And you could get $5, $10 a day, right? That's, what is that? $300 a day at $10 a day. That's $300, So in a cell phone, right? Pull your phone out, talking to the camera, make about a 1-minute video, put $10 a day behind it, let it run for a week and see what happens. Anybody is available to everyone, for sure.
Well, what if somebody doesn't want to be on camera and they want to do these cheap videos and try stuff out and be, experimental, and yet they don't want to be on camera? They've got fear of that, or just deep discomfort, so they procrastinate it. Is there a solution for those folks? And is there a solution for finding the competitor examples out there that are really performing well, so that you can, kind of R&D, rip off and duplicate what the successful competitors doing?
Duplicate. That's funny. R&D. I like that.
I learned that one from Taki Moore.
But seriously, like, I think there's Fiverr, right? There's Upwork. There's these places where you can go and get people to make you videos. But my personal opinion is that if you're not willing to do whatever it takes to grow your business, I really don't know how to respond to people like that. You know what I mean? If you so self, whatever about yourself that you can't you can't pull your mobile device out and talk into your phone to put it in front of people that might give you money. I don't really know how to, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't, honestly, I've never really entertained that. I get that, like, there's a purpose on why we would not be on a camera, because we're testing messages, right? So if it's about not being on camera, yeah, there's ways to pull it off, but I would say reevaluate, your mindset when it comes to that. Like, be willing to do whatever it takes to really grow your business. But, hey, if you got the money and the capital because you don't want to be on video.
You know what it reminds me of? You know what that reminds me of?
Yeah.
Les Brown. You got to be hungry.
I'm just saying, the opportunity is wide open for anybody with a couple dollars. They got a revenue generating business, a few bucks from that business to invest in it, a mobile device to make your video. You can be on YouTube. You're already generating revenue. You probably have a website. If you don't have a website and you're generating revenue, well, that's going to add a hurdle, because now you got to go get a site, because you still need a website to send people to from your ads. So So you're going to have to solve that. But if you have a revenue generating business and you have a website already, all you need to do now is pull your phone out, figure out what you want to, what your hook, message, and call to action is going to be. Like, what do you want people to do? What are you going to say to them in your message? And how do you think you're going to get their attention? And you can just wing that, literally, and put $5 or $10 a day and see how people respond to it. Like, you can be in business today, tomorrow. So, you know, yeah, it's just always a challenge for me, man, for people who just like find reasons to not take action. You know, I have very little patience for that, because it's like, you know, if you have the resources, 100%, go hire somebody. It's super easy to go to Fiverr and get someone to make you a video, 100%. But there are people who don't have the resources that'll say that. And it's like, you got a phone? Yes. You got a couple of dollars to put on ad? Yes. You got a website? Yes. You don't need anything else. You know what I mean? You can get in business right now. So anything else you say to me that don't involve those things, I don't really want to hear it, because if I tell you to go hire someone to make you a video, you say you don't have the money for that. You would rather put the money in ads. Okay. Put the money in ads and go make, you know what I mean? So it's like, I hear this a lot. It gets frustrating a lot of times, right? But like, if you have the capital and you don't want to be on video, 100% go hire someone to get it done for you. If you have money to put in ads, but you feel like you don't have the money to do all of the other things, you got to be willing to do what it takes, or don't do it. You know what I mean? So that's the only challenge that I have when people say that kind of stuff to me. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, if you don't have the resources, right? If you had the resources, yeah, go hire it out. There's plenty of freelancers and companies and places to go to get this stuff done, for sure.
And what are they using, those freelancers, like Lumen 5 to create kind of AI based videos with stock video and yeah, transitions?
Lumen 5, there's another one called InVideo as well that can pull in like stock video footage and marry them together and things like that. I forget the others, because I'm not active. Like, I got a girl on my team that really handles, like, I've been training her for going on 3 years probably. Now she's really gotten to the point where she's taking over all our video, from scripting to editing. She manages that entire process. So I'm more of a strategic level thinker on these things. I'm not into the executionary side of it as much, but I know that there's InVideo, there's Lumen 5. It's another one I can't think of right now. Then there's also a platform called Voice Bunny, or maybe it's name changed, where you get like voiceovers. I think they're doing videos now as well. Obviously, there's Fiverr, there's Upwork. I'm just trying to rattle off some different tools and stuff that we do use for certain stuff. But a lot of like our stuff now we're doing, obviously we have editors and all that kind of stuff, so we can kind of get pretty sophisticated with it. But if you just like need tools kind of out of the box, Lumen 5, InVideo, like I said, Fiverr, and then if you want like voiceover, you can use like a Voice Bunny, Fiverr, Upwork. I feel like it's a couple of other tools that I'm not catching them right now. But there are tools out there to really kind of handle a lot of that stuff. It's not really one with like, maybe I'm wrong because I'm not into the weeds of it anymore, but it doesn't feel like there's one stop shop tool where you go and you plug something in and it spits out this amazing or somewhat decent video, other than like Fiverr, where you're getting a person and then you're giving them instructions on, you know, here go my script. You know, this is what I want the visuals to look like. Or maybe they already have some examples of work that they've done, and now it's like, make me a video like this, you know, use this wording and that kind of thing. You got to give them a little more direction versus like these tools like in video, you know, we basically can take a script and stick it in there and it'll spit us the visuals out. But you still, if you want a voiceover, you still got to get someone to read the script and then marry the video, the visual with the audio as well, right? So that takes a bit of work. If you don't have that skill set, now you got to figure out how to find someone to do that, right? So it's not like a one-stop. And maybe InVideo has a way to do all of that. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't feel like any of these platforms is really kind of out of the box, has all of the elements necessary to really make, especially in that hook message call to action format. Because a lot of times they're making these explainer videos and all of that kind of stuff, which are great for the purpose. But for an ad, you got to understand there's a hook that's going to capture their attention. There's a message that I need to deliver that's congruent with that. And then there's something that I want them to do. And you got to get those elements in there. And I haven't seen a place where you can go and stick something in and get something out that covers that. You kind of got to direct people to kind of get that outcome, other than you doing it yourself by pulling your phone out and talking into it, right? You know, if that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Now, what if you wanted to use a tool to find the competitors' ads, the video ads that you might want to
R&D, right?
R&D.
Ripping. What did you say? Ripping what?
Rip off and duplicate. Yeah.
So one of my favorites is Video Ad Vault. So my guy Justin Sardi, good friend of mine. I don't get paid anything for giving him a shout out. I just love the tool. We actually use it. Video Ad Vault. I think it's you might just have to Google it. He also has a software called TubeSift, which is like a software that can pull like specific videos for you to run your ads against. But now he has this Video Ad Vault that kind of has all of this, who's running what, how much they're spending, where they're sending their traffic. Well, I don't know if it tells you how much they're spending, but you can see like view counts, where they're sending their traffic to, their landing pages and that kind of thing. It's pretty dope too. We actually use it I don't know if we do it every day. I know I'm not in there every day, but I know on week over week basis, like somehow that tool's coming up in our activities on a week over week basis, where we're going in there and we're looking at what other things are happening in the market depending on different projects that we have. We're always trying to see who's doing what and what's working for other people that we can borrow ideas from, if you will, right? Not rip off, but borrow ideas from.
Yeah.
So inspiration, right?
Inspiration, right?
So that tool is great. I feel like there's something else I know that we used, but it wasn't very good. So I ain't gonna call that name out. But I'll say Video Ad Vault by TubeSift or Justin Sardi.
Yeah.
Dope tool.
Yeah. I have Googled it while you were talking. And yes, it's videoadvault.com. And I'll put it in the show notes for the episode. All the different tools that we're talking about and resources will go in the show notes. Now, what about checking their spending, the competitors? I know with SEMrush, for example, you can see an estimated ad spend for Google ads. Is that also going to provide YouTube?
I have no idea, man. I don't know what the roadmap is. That was at one point where SEMrush was giving us data on YouTube, and then they took it away. And I don't know anyone there. I know that they're a big company too, so I don't have any contacts there. I don't know what their roadmap is. So I have no idea. I don't know where you can go and find how much people are spending with the tool. I don't know. If someone has a tool that gives that and it's close to being accurate, like please send it to me. I would love to know. Typically what I do, like with a Video Ad Vault, I'm not necessarily trying to find their overall spend as much as I'm trying to find what's working. And then I can look at the view count. Like I know like last week we found a video. It was uploaded 3 months ago. It had 20 million views, all unlisted. unlisted. So when a video is unlisted, so you got public, you got unlisted, and you got private. A public video is just anybody can create a video, upload it. It goes public, and it can go out to the YouTube ecosystem. An unlisted video can only get views if you give it to someone or if you buy ads. In a private video, you can only get access that by someone giving you access. So like a Google Doc, where you would give someone access to that Google Doc by putting their email address in there. That's how private videos work. But I can't even access a private video. No one can if the person who owns it doesn't give it to you. So what I'm saying is with unlisted videos, if it has a lot of views on it, it's probably because of the ads, right? So 20 million views in 3 months, that's probably working, right? And that's kind of like the indicators that I look for. I'm trying to find like what specifically is working, because I don't necessarily just want to model everything you're doing based on how much you're spending. I want to model what's working that you're doing, right? That you're spending a lot of money on. So the view count is very key. And then the setting of being unlisted video is very key. If you see unlisted, you see a large view count, and then you're looking at the date in which it was uploaded, that's a really good indicator of, because a 20 million view video that was uploaded 4 years ago might not even be running anymore. But a video that was uploaded 3 months ago with 20 million views is like, okay, something's going on here. We need to go study this. And this is probably good data that I can borrow, right, from someone else's data, that this is probably working. We should probably try something like this. And that's kind of how we're making that decision.
And you can see these unlisted videos using Video Ad Vault? Very cool. Very cool. Now, what about somebody who's, they're paying for YouTube Premium, what used to be called YouTube Red? I pay for that. It's so valuable. I hate ads. I don't ever watch any. So how do you reach those people?
You don't, unless you're producing content, unless you're a creator, you can reach those people through influencer marketing, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's a completely different thing. But if there's
are you doing influencer marketing?
We do some of that. I mean, I don't personally do it anymore. Again, it's like these cluster, these partner clusters that we operate in, where there's a person that's an influencer marketing person. So we work together. So for example, we have one of our projects where we'll go in, we'll pull all of the data from YouTube and find where the conversions are happening. And now we can pass that off to that partner who also works with that client to help them sharpen their strategy of who they want to outreach to do these types of deals with. We already know from the traffic that we're buying that this audience converts. So it's really an alley-oop type situation. But we don't do anything outside of that. We just will pull that data, we'll hand that off, and then they'll kind of go do their thing. But I used to do some of that back in the day, but it just, how it is, man. You're trying to grow. You're doing everything under the sun. Like slowly you kind of got to either say, all right, I'm going to teach someone this, or I'm going to not do this, or I'm going to do this, but I'm going to partner with someone. And for a while, I just didn't do it. And then I started looking at ways to partner with people to say, here's a way that maybe we can provide more value to our client, and vice versa. Like sometimes they'll bring us projects that they're working on, or we'll bring them to projects that we're working on and say, hey, we got all of this data. Here go 67 channels where we got data on conversion. We can hand it off to this team. They can do the outreach and do, that kind of thing. And so we work together on it like that. But once it goes from that, it's out of our hands. There's a whole strategy that goes with doing, influencer marketing that I haven't done it in 3 or 4 years now. So I don't really know the ins and outs of it like that. I kind of just get in my little lane, but it's definitely a killer strategy. And so if someone is on premium and that content creator is producing content, you're still going to see that content. So, but with ads, you can't run an ad and show it to anyone that's watching, that's a premium user. You can't reach them through ads.
Yeah. Yeah. You're creating, or your team is creating YouTube ads and running those ads for your own stuff, not just for your clients.
Somewhat.
Right?
I mean, it's here or there. Like, I don't have a lot of stuff per se to run ads for. I mean, we got a mastermind coming up that we're about to do. I partner with a company called Founder. We created a course together, but Founder really controls a lot of that when it comes to the ads and all of that. They do all of that stuff. We don't really advertise for clients, really. Most of my stuff have come through referrals. And, there's stuff that we do. There's internal projects that we have going on, but like the bulk of what we're doing really still at this point is our clients or our partners. And really where I'm trying to go to is more so partnerships. Because at the end of the day, right, other people are just so great at certain aspects. And this is what I learned trying to run my own stuff. We're really good at the ads, but, operations and supply chain and customer service and all of these other things, like some people are just way better at that stuff. And it's like, do you want to be good at that? It's like Facebook ads. Like, I've spent millions of dollars on Facebook ads, but it just came a point where it's like, I'm getting way, like the majority of what we're producing results is kind of coming from Google platform, right? And it just kind of was like, other people are probably better than us at that, and just keeping it real. And it's like, if I got someone that's better than us doing that, and we're better at what we're doing than what they're doing, and we partner together, 1 + 1 isn't 2, is 3 or 4 or 5. So that's kind of the rate that I'm going. And so, I just try to stick to what I'm good at. And when you have your own offers, you got an entire business, and it's not just the advertising lane. It's everything that make that work. There's an entire ecosystem: copywriting, funnels, integration, customer service. The list goes on and on and on, right? As an advertising agency, we don't have to do customer service and all of these things, right? Like, we don't have to deal with supply chain and cash flow, inventory management and all of these kinds of things, right? And so that's how I learned, like, trying to do all of those things. Is like, okay, we're not that good at that, and I don't want to learn how to be good at that. I'm already good at something. I should probably find someone who's already good at that. And man, when I started doing that, I started noticing how much better things were. So I'm really moving more so toward partnerships now, because I can take what we've built, and then we can add all of these components together and get way better than trying to kind of go learn all of these things. So that's kind of why go ahead.
Yeah, that concept is called Who Not How. And there's a book on it that's actually called Who Not
Dan
How.
Sullivan.
Dan Sullivan.
I know that book. Matter of fact, I feel like didn't I meet Dan Sullivan somewhere? I want to say I met him at Genius Network. Genius Network, you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Dan Sullivan.
Yep, I'm a Genius Network member. Have been for a few years. Yep.
Dan Sullivan, yeah. So yeah, that's awesome. That might be even where that idea really kind of start permeating for me, to be honest with you, because it's like, man, like you try to do all of these things and it's just like failing. You know what I mean? I'm good at this piece, but the reason why the thing isn't working has nothing to do with the part that I'm good at. It's all of the other stuff. That's you know what I mean? And it's just like, man, like, I should probably find people that know what they're doing. And I'm pretty sure being in that probably, help permeate that in my mind and help me to understand how to activate that as well, right? Because you can have that thought, but it's like, well, how do I do that? And I got some real good game on that from there and some other masterminds and things that I'm in on, like how to actually execute on, putting people together, building teams and finding the right people and making the fit and the culture side of it and all of that, where it kind of all works together. So, yep.
Yeah. Well, I know we're out of time. So if our listener or viewer is interested in learning more from you, maybe even joining your mastermind or just hiring your agency and having you guys do it all.
Tommie Traffic, my name, Tommie, Traffic, TRAFFIC.com, or if you just Google Tommie Traffic, or you go Facebook, Instagram. I don't really use Twitter and TikTok and all of that. But like, if you look for me, my name with the IE traffic, like I'm pretty easy to find. Just, the best place would be my website, but secondarily from there would be either Facebook or IG or something like that. Just get my information, reach out. I'll get in touch or somebody on my team. I'm usually pretty hands-on with, like connecting with people. If there's an opportunity, I mean, it might not be like the initial outreach part, but if you reach out and give us some information about what you're doing, and I think there's an opportunity, typically I want to have that conversation. I like to, I'm the decision maker in my world, and I like to talk to the decision makers in the world of the clients that we work with. But yeah, man, like, we always looking for opportunities. I've grown quite a bit now with the agency side. So I have partners now in on my agency partnership piece where we really cover everything. Like we have capability to do it all, from the funnels and the integrations, the creatives, the media buying, all of that stuff. We kind of really can cover the entire ecosystem of digital advertising. We kind of got it all. So we're really just trying to grow right now, and just trying to grow and find more partners. I mean, obviously clients as well, but we kind of in that zone between, moving toward partnerships. I would say probably in the next 2 or 3 years, I want to predominantly focus on that, do less, client work and more partnerships. Ultimately is really where I want to go.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tommie. This was fabulous. And, best of luck with the growth of your agency and all the cool stuff you're up to.
Cool.
We'll catch you on the next episode. And in the meantime, make it a great week. Do some good in the world. We'll catch you on the next episode. I'm your host, Stephan Spencer, signing off.